Hey everybody, thanks so much for joining us here on 9 News Watch for a detailed look at your Colorado weather forecast, which is going to feature a little bit of everything. I'm going to start things out by explaining the fact that I've lived in Denver for 12 years and I will never, ever stop being stunned at 70-degree swings in 48 hours like we're going to be looking at between Sunday and Tuesday. We're going to be probably into the 60s on Sunday. We're going to go down probably somewhere around -10 on your Tuesday. I mean, Colorado weather here, folks. It doesn't get better than that, at least from a meteorologist's perspective. I think for many of us out here, too. It's just so wild. It's so crazy. And for me, it is a whole lot of fun to be sitting here in front of you all talking about it. All right, so for the near term, we've got the sun, we've got a warm weekend, and then next week we go basically down to the Arctic. So we're going to get that snow, get that cold back in here. But hey, the good news is we're going to melt off a lot of that snow that we picked up back on your Wednesday night and Thursday morning. That's probably going to be long gone by the time our next Arctic blast hits on your Monday. Right now, it is beautiful out there here in Denver. It's already into the 40s for many of us into the eastern parts of the state. Lots of sunshine in store for us, and we're going to have plenty of that as we head through not only the rest of your day today, but also as we head through the upcoming weekend. Southwesterly winds, downsloping southwesterly winds, kick those temperatures, those high temperatures up to right around 50 degrees for a high for your afternoon hours today. Again, that should feel pretty nice. Already into the mid-40s for us here in Denver. And how about this? Once you factor in this weekend into the early to mid part of next week, I bet we are going to end the month of February with probably around 20 of our 28 days this month at either 50 degrees or above, or with snow falling. Right now, assuming we get to 50 degrees today, which looks increasingly likely, we would be at 13 of our 18 days so far this month at either 50 or above, or with measurable snowfall. I mean, it's just stunning. We've either been on the warm side or we've been dealing with snow, and that trend will continue into next week. In the meantime, right now, 44 downtown Denver, 46 out at the airport, and as usual, our cold spots, Greeley and Fort Morgan off to our north, where we're stuck in the 30s, but even our friends up there will warm on up into the 40s later on this afternoon, and that sunshine continues until the early part of next week. That's when our next big troublemaker, depending on how you see it, arrives from the north and west, and that'll usher in much colder temperatures by your Monday night, and especially into your Tuesday and your Wednesday. And the kind of takeaways for next week looks like a long-lived snow event, a mainly light snow event, but a longer-lived one with the potential for some significant mountain snowfall, which is great news here, folks. So overall, this forecast is good news in a lot of different ways, except for the bitter cold along the Front Range next week. In the meantime, if you don't want the bitter cold, get outside tomorrow. It is going to be absolutely beautiful. Highs spiking into the mid to upper 50s for us. You've got nothing but sunshine, light winds. Make sure you get outside, walk the dog outside. I got my own dog. I'm going to certainly be walking her outside tomorrow. In fact, if it melts on up quickly enough, I'm going to try and get a game of Ultimate Frisbee in tomorrow as well. Point being, get outside for tomorrow because it is going to be absolutely beautiful. Look at these high temperatures. This is for your February the 19th highs. I wouldn't be surprised if a few of us here in the metro get over 60 degrees for us. Some also additional good news passed along. Denver downgraded from a severe to a, or I should say kind of upgraded in a sense. The drought situation improving for Denver with the most recent update. We went from a severe drought to a moderate drought. So starting to see some real improvements in the drought monitor, and that is thanks to all that recent snow and all of that recent precipitation. And that trend should hold true as we continue into next week. Now, the one kind of issue we've got right now is the mountains basically had 3 weeks of nonstop snow through the holidays. You might remember from about mid-December until the first week of January, it just relentlessly snowed in the mountains, and that spiked snowpack levels up over 100% throughout the entire mountain ranges. But in the last 6 weeks or so, we've basically seen zero snow in the mountains, and that has reduced our snowpack below 100% of our season-to-date averages. That's really affecting a lot of the ski resorts. I know just because we haven't had any snow in the mountains really over the last 6 weeks, there's been some real issues into the mountains in terms of snow levels. I went skiing last weekend, and I certainly noted the fact that there were some kind of clumps of snow in some of those ski resorts. Anyways, that will change as we get into next week. This weekend, a lot of sunshine. As I mentioned, it's going to be bluebird weather for us into the mountains this weekend. No issues getting to or from the mountains either tonight or through the upcoming weekend. Now, the issues return starting on Monday, and that's when you see that snow. In fact, let's back this up a little bit here. And by Monday morning, starting to see those first flakes flying into the western mountains. And then as we head through the day on your Monday, that snow really fills on in throughout the entire mountains, and we'll be looking at that snow continuing for days on end. Great news, again, great news for the mountains and the snowpack, but of course it'll make travel tricky throughout much of next week. We'll get some periodic breaks, but even here in Denver, it looks like it's going to snow lightly, almost continuously from Monday night through late Wednesday, early Thursday. So it's a long-lived snow event for us here and through much of the state, including us here in Denver. Snowfall amounts not going to be all that significant for us here in Denver, but we will be looking at a lot of snow up into the mountains. Here's a look at what we could be looking at into the mountains, where some spots could pick up feet of snow from the upcoming storm system. That, again, is fantastic news. Right where we need that snow, we are going to be getting it. Denver, a lot more questions about what we might see here. I think 5 inches seems a little high to me at this point, but I do think we end up somewhere in that 2 to 4 inch range through the upcoming week from all that snow that we do end up seeing. So a little bit of everything here, folks, as we head through the next 7 days. Temperatures into the low 60s for us on your Sunday, and then we're below zero on your Tuesday morning, and right around zero for your Wednesday and Thursday mornings as well. So it's just going to be, again, all over the place. We warm back up late next weekend into next weekend. But again, it's either, feels like the last few weeks we've been dealing with either 50-degree or above temperatures or snow, and that trend will hold true through the next 7 days or so. I think Monday, Tuesday, we are going to be looking at that possibility for breaking those snow shovels back out after what's been just such an exceptionally busy stretch. We are at our snowiest start to a calendar year on record here in Denver. Again, that trend will continue into next week. And of course, March is on average our snowiest month of the year. So yes, meteorological spring might be just a few weeks away. Actual spring, astronomical spring, the way we think about it, is about a month away at this point. But of course, here in Colorado, that means absolutely nothing. That just means that winter is probably kicking into its high point of the season. But again, great news for the mountains. We've gotten our moisture here in Denver. The mountain's about to get some pretty healthy snow. Fantastic news up that way. And hopefully the mountains get maybe a bit more than what we expect. But of course, keep that in mind. That travel next week will be very tricky throughout the mountains, especially on Tuesday and Wednesday. Hey, thanks so much for joining us here on 9 News Watch for a detailed look at your Colorado weather forecast. Meteorologist Danielle Grant has another update at 12:30, and Chief Meteorologist Kathy Sabin is in at 3, 4, 5, 9, and 10 tonight with more details on your Colorado weather forecast as well. In the meantime, I'm Meteorologist Chris Bianchi. Have a great rest of your day and stay safe as we head through what will be a cold and snowy pattern next week.